Christie created a PR show for Gothard's teachings.
You've probably heard of the Duggar family.
Everyone knew who the family was. We were part of IBLP as early as I can remember.
The biggest feature of Bill Gothard's teachings is authority.
Kids obey the parents, wives obey their husbands. Everyone obeys Bill Gothard.
Gothard turned every father into a cult leader and every home into an island.
The new docuseries Shiny Happy People Duggar Family Secrets explores the truth beneath the surface of reality TV's mega family, the Duggars.
Corey Shepard-Stern is one of the executive producers of the series and joins us live this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So are any of the Duggar families participating in this docuseries directly?
Yes, actually, we had Jill and her husband Derek, and we also had Amy and Deanna. Amy is a cousin, and Deanna is Jim Bob's sister.
It was interesting listening to Jill. I watched it. She said she was upset that she was pressured to defend her brother because of some accusations meant against him. She felt like she was pressured into that interview. Said she wasn't paid for a lot of these spin-offs she did. What does Jim Bob say about those accusations?
You know, we haven't heard any direct response to those accusations, to the specific accusations. There was a statement that the family put out that said in part that they believe that these things were a private matter and should be dealt with directly between family members. I'm paraphrasing, but it's available on their social media.
It is interesting. The show was on the air for so long, and when you think the kids, even when they were adults, had to make contracts through their father and not directly with the network. Is the network culpable in that at all? Do they owe any of these kids money?
You know, I am not a labor lawyer, but I certainly think there are some interesting questions that have been raised and that were uncovered through conversations with the people who participated. I certainly hope that everybody who participated is considering how to become complete with the whole situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really devastating, I think.
Lots of revelations from this docuseries. Maybe walk us through one or two of the more surprising ones.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, the labor information where, Jill revealed that, and that there was a contract that she was rushing through, the event space the day before, the kitchen the day before she was to get married, and just basically like, hey, sign this. And what she later found out is that she was signing a contract for, years of her life. She didn't realize that, when she looked at the signature, she was like, wait, that is my signature. And then she realized, like, I signed this, right as I was getting married. Additionally, there were some like really interesting things around IBLP, which is the organization that the Duggars are a part of, or at least the main mom and dad were a part of for so long. They're in Illinois based. They were headquartered in Illinois, actually, in Hinsdale and Oak Brook, not too far from you guys.
Yeah, talk about, you had a lot of former members of the Institute of Basic Life Principles, saying we weren't educated, we didn't have a lot of basic education, and talk about where that organization stands now. And some say that Jim Bob might be the new head of that organization.
Yeah, I mean, the organization is still around. I believe that the Duggars are still involved with that organization, or Jim Bob and Michelle are involved with that organization. Also, Gil Bates from Bringing Up Bates, which was that family was on one season on TLC and now are on, I believe, another network, and for multiple seasons. And I heard as of yesterday that the Bringing Up Bates, and Gil Bates is now, I believe, on the board, or he was on the board of IBLP. That show has just been, as of yesterday, being re-aired on this channel that had pulled the show before. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of ties between, entertainment and this particular organization.
Have any of the other Duggar children besides Jill, I think we had one of the other sisters wrote a book, but she did not appear in your documentary. Why is that?
That's right. Ginger wrote a book,
Yeah.
and we did approach, and we did approach multiple members of the family, and Jill was the one who decided to kind of break her silence. Although it wasn't completely silent. I mean, she has spoken out before, but certainly not to this extent. And yeah, Ginger wrote a book, and Jill has a book upcoming. I think it's going to be released in September, and I hope that that people buy it and get even more details about her life and what her experience was like.
All right. Well, Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets is streaming now on Prime Video, and you can follow Corey on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I think your show is great. I have watched it many a time when I'm passing through the area.
Well,
so
appreciate
thanks so much.
it.
I was really excited when they said it was you guys. So
Wow.
Thank you, Corey.
Oddly that you didn't think of doing a documentary on us called Shiny Happy People.
Right.
I don't know how
you
that
know
did.
what? Season 2. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, Corey.
It'd be
Take
pretty
care.
juicy for sure. Thanks, Corey.
Bye-bye.
Bye.